defensive line show. They had great defense. They won on defense, special teams, offense, coaching. They won in every aspect of that game. Urban Meyer.
This little blue stripe right there, and I always like the relics with the nice blue, with the nice stripe down them.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my predictions for the NFL playoffs. A lot of surprising teams in the playoffs this year, but there were some teams that in the preseason predictions were exactly where they were predicted to be. So, some surprises like the Chargers and Colts and Texans, but some not surprises such as the Patriots, Chiefs. I don't know if you want to call the Ravens a surprise getting into the playoffs. I think a surprise not team is going to be the Steelers out of the AFC. Out of the NFC, it was the Vikings, paying Kirk Cousins at $84 million, and he can't lead them to the playoffs, so that's kind of disappointing for the folks in Minneapolis. Out of the NFC, clear surprise, the Chicago Bears from worst to first, a true worst to first story, just like the Philadelphia Eagles, who they play, who that's their matchup in the first round, but we'll preview that a little later because we're going to start with the AFC. Let's get right into it. Texans and Colts, our first matchup. Texans hosting the Colts, so you think they can have that advantage, but I don't think the Texans are playing better football right now towards the end of the season. Texans losing to the Colts a couple of weeks before the season ended. Colts picking up that big win over the Titans to get into the playoffs. So I think the Colts are playing better football than Houston right now. Colts sliding in there after not playing so good to begin the season. I think the Colts just playing better football. They move on and by default are going to play the Chiefs. I got the Colts over the Texans. Next, we're going to go with the Ravens and the Chargers. The Ravens beat the Chargers last time in Los Angeles by 12 points. Now you're going to M&T Bank Stadium, a completely different beast you're talking about with the Chargers. The Ravens playing fantastic football right now. At home, a great atmosphere that will work in favor of the Ravens. I got the Ravens over the Chargers in that matchup. So next on to the divisional round, the Chiefs playing the Colts. I think it's going to be easy to pick the Chiefs. Their offense just so overpowered. They're going to fire on all cylinders. And I think they're just going to give the Colts problems on everywhere in the field, giving Andrew Luck a lot of pressure, having Patrick Mahomes just drop dimes, throwing dots all over the place. I think that the Chiefs annihilate the Colts and move on to the AFC Championship. Next, we have the Patriots and the Ravens, a rematch of a fantastic AFC Championship a few years ago. Patriots not playing their best football that they could have this season, but still getting that first round bye. That just shows you how talented they are. But the Ravens just playing such good football that they're the one team in the AFC that can go into Foxborough and defeat the Patriots. I think they do it. The most dangerous team in the NFL right now moves on to the AFC Championship game. The team nobody wants to face is the Chiefs. Are going to have to face them. AFC Championship, I got the Chiefs and the Ravens. Chiefs, they're playing such good football. Ravens are playing better football. Moving into Kansas City, where the Ravens lost there in overtime, 27-24, towards the end of the season, making that run to get into the playoffs. Their Ravens are playing better football than what they were when they faced Kansas City just a few weeks ago. And I think that the Ravens, with that sour taste in their mouth from the last time they visited Kansas City not too long ago, and the fact that they're playing better football propels them to the Super Bowl. I got the Ravens, the 4th seed, AFC North champions, coming out of the AFC into the Super Bowl. We're going to move on to the NFC. Bears facing the Eagles. The Eagles just sliding into the playoffs, facing the Chicago Bears, the Chicago Bears, they got tremendously better this year. It was a shock to a lot of people, including me. What's such a big leap they took from last season, was such a big step from last place in the NFC North to clear-cut winners out of the NFC North. And you're talking about a possible Super Bowl contender facing the defending Super Bowl champs. That would be a nice way to start the playoffs off with a win for Chicago. I think they get it. I got the Bears moving on to the NFC divisional round, and they're going to have to face the Rams by default, which means the winner of the Cowboys and Seahawks game, which we will talk about next, will have to face the Saints. Cowboys playing good football towards the end of the season. We're on a nice roll, so they could have comfortably gone into that last game against the Giants without Dak Prescott. Ezekiel Elliott lost that game. Still gotten a 4 seed with some good momentum going into this game against the Seahawks, who didn't play the best football to start the season. I thought they were surely out of the playoffs, but they ended the season on a nice run to get into the NFL playoffs. And you talk about in the NFL, any team can beat you on any given Sunday. I think that this proves that factor. I got the Seahawks upsetting the Cowboys. Just the Cowboys, I don't know. I don't think they can win that big game that matters, especially in the playoffs. Over the past few times they've been in the playoffs, that big game, it's in their hands, it's in their clutch, and then it just slips out. I think that's exactly what happens here. The Seahawks move on to the NFC divisional round. Next we have the Rams and the Bears. The Rams hosting Chicago. Rams got that first round bye off and defeating Chicago. They didn't defeat Chicago, but beating Chicago for it. So the Bears, they might feel that bad sour taste, but I think that the Rams getting that first round bye hurts them because that means they haven't played football in a couple of weeks. They haven't played football in a couple of weeks. They don't have that momentum like Chicago's going to have coming off a win over the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. With that quarterback Nick Foles, the man who led them to that position. I think the Rams having that bye hurts them, helps the Bears, and that's going to be the difference maker that puts Chicago over just by that much. Chicago moves on to the NFC Championship game. Next, we have the Saints and the Seahawks. It's easily going to be the Saints. The Saints, you can't go into the Superdome and beat the New Orleans right now. At least it seems that way. Going into the Superdome, it's just going to be too tough for the Seahawks team. Saints win handily, go to the NFC Championship game. Next, you have the Bears and the Saints. The one matchup other than Rams Saints that you want to see. But we already saw Rams Saints. Rams going to the Superdome undefeated against a one-loss Saints team, and they got it handed to them. They couldn't defeat the Saints. So I think the Bears are the one team in the playoffs that could go to the Superdome and possibly defeat the Saints. You can say the Eagles could have. I don't think the Cowboys could have. I don't think the Seahawks could have. I don't think the Rams could have, already proving that they can't. The Eagles, they did. I don't think it'll happen again. That was a narrow victory. I think the Eagles just were able to slide by with that one. I don't think they would have been able to do it again. The Bears are the one team, in my opinion, that can go into the Superdome and defeat New Orleans. I think they do it narrowly. Chicago returns to the Super Bowl for the first time in a long time, facing the Ravens, a Super Bowl that at the beginning of the season felt inevitable. And now I predict that it will be here, the Ravens facing the Chicago Bears, both teams playing fantastic football with a lot of momentum on their side. I think the Ravens are all around better talented, more well-rounded, have a little more experience on defense. I think that that's going to help them come up with a couple of big defensive stops, stopping Mitch Trubisky in that young offense. I think the Ravens win by a couple of touchdowns. The Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, are your Super Bowl 53 champions. So thank you guys for watching this video. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. And leave your comments down below on who you predict will win the Super Bowl. And make sure to stay tuned because I will have a new podcast coming out. Not releasing details on that just yet, but I will have a new podcast coming out very soon. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, again, thank you for watching this video.